The Metropolitan Antiquities Museum archives were my sanctuary. Sunlight, thick with dust motes, slanted through the high windows, illuminating rows of forgotten history. My hands, encased in soft archivist cotton gloves, moved with practiced precision, carefully cataloging each delicate artifact. It was a quiet, meticulous world, perfectly suited to my temperament, where every object held a story waiting to be meticulously preserved. My peaceful routine was interrupted by Dr. Eris Gable, the museum director, bustling in with an almost childlike excitement. He held a velvet-lined box inside which rested the azurite fragment. He explained its immense historical significance, describing its deep, swirling azure glaze with flecks of gold dust, a color and texture modern science simply could not replicate. It was truly captivating. After Dr. Gable left, a surge of unprofessional curiosity overcame me. I carefully removed one of my cotton gloves, my bare fingers hovering over the fragment. I just wanted to feel the impossible smoothness Dr. Gable had described. The moment my skin brushed its surface, a strange electric tingle shot through my hand, a sensation that was both unsettling and strangely compelling. I snatched my hand back, startled by the unexpected jolt. But as I pulled away, I stared, utterly bewildered at what lay in my palm. There, resting in my open hand, was a second, perfectly identical copy of the azurite fragment. My mind reeled, struggling to comprehend the impossible reality before my eyes. It was an exact duplicate, down to the tiniest fleck of gold. Panicked, I quickly shoved the duplicate fragment into a nearby drawer, my heart pounding. I had to know if it was a fluke. My trembling fingers touched a simple wooden pencil, and instantly another pencil materialized. Then a heavy leather-bound book, and another appeared. The reality of this impossible power began to sink in, chilling me to the bone. A few days later, the air in the archives grew heavy with an unsettling presence. Julian Sterling, a major museum benefactor, arrived for a tour with Dr. Gable. He was a man of sharp, predatory elegance, his silvering hair and perfectly trimmed goatee exuding an aura of immense wealth and ownership. His piercing gray eyes scanned everything, making me deeply uneasy. Julian's gaze, sharp and assessing, eventually landed on the azurite fragment, now displayed under glass. As I explained its unique properties, I felt his eyes drift to the nearby shelf where I had carelessly placed the duplicate, hoping it would blend in. A flicker of intense, calculating interest crossed his face, a momentary crack in his composed facade, which he swiftly masked. Julian Sterling concluded his tour, his parting words polite, but his final act sent a shiver down my spine. As he turned to leave, his gaze met mine, holding for a beat too long. It was a lingering, meaningful look, devoid of warmth, that made my stomach clench with dread. I knew with chilling certainty that he had seen the duplicate and he understood. Later that week, as I was leaving work, Julian Sterling appeared from the shadows, cornering me in the deserted museum corridor. He dropped all pretense of polite interest, his voice a low, confident murmur. He revealed, without hesitation, that he knew about my ability. He didn't call it magic or a curse, but a unique, valuable talent. He leaned in, his voice a silken persuasion. Julian made his pitch, a partnership, he called it. He spoke of priceless artifacts they could replicate and sell to private collectors, promising me wealth beyond my wildest dreams. He framed it as liberating art from dusty museum shelves, a grand vision designed to tempt and manipulate. Julian Sterling's proposition hung in the air, a vile, tempting poison. My mind reeled, horrified by the very notion of creating a forgery. My integrity as a historian, as a keeper of truth, was paramount to my very identity. "No," I stated, my voice firm despite the tremor in my hands. "Absolutely not." Julian's charming smile vanished, replaced by a chillingly cold expression that made my blood run cold. He leaned closer, his voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. "You misunderstand, Miss Thornton," he purred, his silver cane tapping softly on the polished floor. "I could expose your unique talent to the world. Imagine the headlines. You'd be a scientific curiosity, a lab specimen." The next morning, a gnawing dread pulled me back to the azurite fragment's display case. My heart plummeted. The real fragment was gone. In its place lay an exquisite, almost perfect forgery, its azure glaze shimmering deceptively. Beside it, a crisp note in Julian's elegant script, a demonstration. My sanctuary had been violated. I knew with every fiber of my being that it was a fake. I picked it up with my archivist's cotton gloves, turning it over and over. The craftsmanship was so impeccable, the microscopic crazing so perfectly replicated that no conventional method would prove it. To expose Julian, I would have to expose myself, my secret ability. I was trapped. My phone rang, its sudden chime jarring the silence of the archives. It was Julian. His voice was smooth, confident, dripping with amusement. "Well, Miss Thornton," he purred, "do you have any plans to expose my little demonstration? It's a test, you see, of your nerve and your creativity." His challenge ignited a spark within me. I hung up, Julian's words echoing in my mind. My gaze drifted from the gleaming fake fragment to the velvet pedestal it rested upon. An idea, faint but persistent, began to form. I didn't need to look at the fake. I needed to focus on the absence left by the original. The faint impression, the microscopic dust patterns left by the true azurite fragment for decades. My hands, usually so precise, trembled with a new kind of energy. I took a blank piece of archival clay, soft and pliable. I closed my eyes, focusing my power not on an object, but on the memory of its absence, the unique, decades-old indentation and dust signature of the original fragment, imprinted onto the velvet. Slowly, the clay began to replicate that exact negative space, a perfect footprint of what was lost. I called an emergency meeting. Dr. Eris Gable, flustered and worried, quickly assembled the museum board. Julian Sterling, of course, was in attendance, seated at the long mahogany table, a smug, knowing smirk playing on his lips. The air in the boardroom was thick with tension, a silent battle of wills about to begin. I placed Julian's forgery next to the clay imprint I had created. "The original azurite fragment," I explained, my voice steady, "left a unique, microscopic footprint on its velvet pedestal." I pointed to the clay. "This is that footprint, perfectly replicated." Then I highlighted the subtle, undeniable discrepancies between Julian's forgery and the original's true impression. Proof of the swap. Julian's composure finally shattered. His face contorted in a mask of rage and disbelief as the board erupted in murmurs. Security moved in swiftly, escorting him away. As he was let out, he turned, his eyes burning with cold fury, a silent promise of future retribution. I was safe for now, but looking at my own hands, I knew my quiet life as a historian was over. This was just the beginning.